Even I feel like people that are like into all the whatever industry mainstream stuff will say like people don't really get canceled, like, you know what I mean? So you go, okay, yeah, you're right. They tried to make Alex Jones disappear. He probably made more money and maybe made his voice more important. And you might say the same about Andrew Tate or all these people, right? And you're like, it is kind of true that, yeah, you used to be able to, but now no one works for you and you don't really have that. And you go, you also can't cancel countries. It's almost like they still think that they can make people disappear. We can make your country disappear. And it's like, you're like 0 for 5 in all of them, but they still keep just trying to, you know what I mean? Like they're like, we'll make your country not a country. And it's kind of like, I don't know, Vietnam or whatever, where it just kind of goes on forever. It's like, that's how all of the wars are, even in culture or something. But it's like they have more, and then you go, you kind of lost that fight. It's like the Conor McGregor just keeps like not really winning and everyone just keeps letting him fight. Yeah. And he still has this like idea that it feels like the United States government kind of operates like that. Well,
because they perceive themselves as the world's police,
if
right?
you look at the record,
they feel like they're like, we have to do this. They don't.
Well, they'll say shit like where they're, I remember like Hillary Clinton said at one point, she had some line where she goes, it shows you like how much they think of like America as the empire.
Yeah.
Like we just own everything. But she said, Russia has amassed troops right on she said right on NATO's doorstep. And by that, she meant Russia's border.
Yeah, I know.
Because NATO has moved all the way over to Russia's border. And then she goes, look, they got their troops right on NATO's doorstep. Like as if they moved over to Germany.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But it's kind of like, she's like, well, the whole world belongs to us. So why would you not? Dude, and there is this tremendous like this hubris. Like that we can just do anything.
Yeah.
And fucking take out
manifest destiny.
Now, I don't agree with those people. You could think of those examples like, I think Andrew Tate's interesting, and I don't know that much about him. I heard so much more about him after he got canceled than I ever did before.
I haven't watched any of it either.
So I don't know. I've seen like a few clips from him and stuff, but I don't really know like that much to comment on him. But I will say that there are a lot of people, like if you say, if you get canceled, it only makes you bigger.
No, I don't think that's always true.
Like, I just know a lot of people who
they don't cancel the message.
Very big and got completely canceled and are like removed almost from the public conversation.
Like, if you go look at him just after the fact, because he's like on Rumble now.
Well, I'll tell you,
and you're like, he lost a huge amount of his
but he's done interviews with. Well, sure, but he's done interviews with Piers Morgan and with Patrick Bet-David and the things that get millions of views and stuff. But if you go to like, Milo Yiannopoulos, however you feel about him, was huge.
Right.
Yeah. Like he had millions of followers and whatever he did like generated a big story. And like, what's he doing now? I have no idea. He's completely removed.
I think multiple things are happening simultaneously, right? Like if you think of even just like a way a band is, right? Like when you think of like Limp Bizkit at their prime and then 2 years later you go, you heard of what they do? It's like he got kicked off the internet. You go, I don't know if that was the whole reason. Like people do have a rise and fall, especially in the like, I'll become the number one century. Like no one stays that forever. So people
so Milo might have fallen anyway.
Not like that.
His moment might have come and passed.
Everyone,
but we don't know because he got fucking banned off all this shit. So maybe that's what would have happened, or maybe he would have been bigger now than he ever was before.
He could have a show on Fox or something.
Yeah, like I just don't know. But so there's a lot of that shit, and there are a lot of people who aren't even names that probably any of us would know who just fucking get kicked off that shit when they were just getting popular.
So Trump disappeared from the entire like discussion in the world, like the way he was, he dominated everything.
He doesn't get a voice in it anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
Which like he's still part of the discussion, but it's just what everyone else is saying about him, rather than him getting to say the thing that they have to react to.
Like unless you
it's a real interesting thing.
Yeah, like unless you watch like OAN or something where they might cover his rallies. Like other than that, you're like they don't even, they talk about him a little bit. They'll give a little like snippet of like something wacky that he said at but it's always like a short gotcha and that's it. Like none of the substance. It's just like short little gotcha, something gaff, and then move on. Like isn't he dumb? And then just like gone.
No, you definitely. I mean, it kind of reminds of like a guy that like was on the Howard Stern show, then he's not, and you're like, what's that guy up to? And you go, no one checked.
Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
And I know people who I liked who were like kicked off YouTube, and then I've even seen their thing where they're like, come subscribe over at this website. And you're like, totally. And I just never go because I don't know, hard, dude. I go on YouTube and it recommends shit to me, and I don't know. It's always telling me I want to watch Ben Shapiro, and I don't, but they're always telling me I do.
Yeah, they got.
I was like, dude, we know who you are. You want to watch Ben Shapiro?
The algorithm does that.
The algorithm's like, we got time, man.
That is so funny. You're like, I don't really know if I want to watch Ben Shapiro. They're like, Dave, it's us here.
Dave, you want to watch Ben Shapiro? Trust me.
Dude, Dave, your wife's in the other room.
He's about to dunk on a 9-year-old.
And eventually, they're kind of right. Like, eventually, you're like, your wife's in the other room. And I'm like, she is. All right, Ben, what do you got? And he's like, well, let me tell you about the Democrats. All right.
And then Dave's wife comes back and you're editing Ben Shapiro Destroys clips.
Yeah, huh? What? I'm coming to bed. I'm coming. Give me a few minutes.
Yeah.
He just dunked on this 17-year-old.